Thank you, Eric, very much. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning to everybody, and welcome. Mr. Lamancusa, everybody's on this side, and then there you are.
I'm sick, sir.
You're still not feeling well.
No, I'm not.
You've had a rough month.
I made a comment. I'm not sure I'm going to survive this child rearing experience. So.
I can still hear it in your voice. Are the kids feeling better?
No.
Well, a few more days, and they'll be all good by Christmas.
Let's hope.
Okay.
That's the hope.
You need to homeschool it.
Well, good morning to everybody and welcome. We will call to order this special meeting of the Lawrence County Salary Board. Today is Friday, December 20 of 2024. And I'll note for the record that this meeting was appropriately advertised in accordance with the Sunshine Law. The legal ad appeared in the Newcastle News a few days ago. And I'll also enter into the record the fact that the Salary Board members met in executive session to discuss personnel matters on December 4 and December 16. A couple other housekeeping items. I'll note that the meeting is being live streamed and also recorded. And then I would request, if you have any type of an electronic communication device, if you please put it on silent or vibrate. We would appreciate that courtesy. The county code stipulates that each county, it's a non-home rule county, have a salary board. The 4 permanent members of the board are the people that you see seated up here, the 3 county commissioners and the elected county controller. However, when another elected official, whether it be one of the row officers or in the case of the courts, the president judge, if any of them have a matter to be brought before the board, they become a voting member of the board. We go from a 4-member board to a 5-member board, and that will happen at least 3 times, well, 2 times today. I know you have a matter before us, but you're a permanent member. So we do appreciate everybody joining us this morning. And we always begin our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. And then if you please remain standing for a moment of silence. Judge Motto, could you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you please remain standing, we'll have a moment of silence. Thank you. Vanessa, could you call the roll, please?
Controller Prestipine.
Here.
Commissioner Sinata.
Here.
Commissioner Kennedy.
Here.
Commissioner Vogler.
Here. We do have a quorum. We're also required to have an opportunity for public comment. We do this twice during our meetings. We'll do it in just a few moments, and then prior to adjournment, we'll open it back up for any public comments that folks might have. We do ask that your comments be related, if you have any, be related to salary board matters. And you are welcome to speak both times if you wish, just one of the times, or if you're just here to observe. You're not obligated to speak. And that being said, I'll open the floor to see if there are any public comments at this time. Hearing and seeing none. Before we move on to adoption of the minutes, I should ask my fellow salary board members if they have any opening remarks or concerns. Commissioner Kennedy? Controller Prestipine? No. Commissioner Sinata? No. Thank you, gentlemen. In our packet, and these documents are available if anybody would like to see them, we do have the minutes of the last meeting that was held by the salary board. That was back on July 9 of 2024. I'll give the members of the board an opportunity to look them over, and then whenever you're ready, I could entertain a motion for us to adopt these minutes.
I'll make the motion to adopt the minutes.
I'll second.
Thank you both, gentlemen. Any concerns or questions regarding the minutes? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call, please.
Controller Prestipine.
Yes.
Commissioner Sinata.
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy.
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Vanessa. We move on to resolutions that have been brought to us for consideration. And we begin this morning with the courts. And of course, the president judge is a voting member. President Judge Motto, welcome. Sir, you are very welcome to sit up front here if you would like to join us.
Thank you for your courtesy. As usual, I'll just sit right here.
That's quite all right. We appreciate your joining us today. And I believe you have three proposals for us to consider and discuss. Vanessa, the first one being the District Magistrate Central Court Director position. What number do we assign the resolution?
27.
27.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Judge Motto, I'll turn it over to you.
Yes, I would move for the adoption of R number 2427. The motion would be that it be resolved by the salary board that the district magistrate central court director shall receive a salary increase of $6,716.60. With this resolution to take effect January 1, 2025, and this position will not receive a 2025 COLA. So that's the motion. If there's a second, I'll give the explanation for it.
Thank you, Your Honor. Is there a second to the judge's motion? Thank you, Mr. Prestipine. Judge?
Yeah, this is a request for a merit increase, and obviously, at these public meetings, we don't mention specific names, but the individual who holds this position has been employed by the county for 43 years, and the entire time period supporting district court magistrates and a director for over 10 years. And I can tell you, I've been here for 30 years, and I never remember any merit review of the salary. And the position is very important. Central Court saves the county a lot of money. Before we had Central Court, magistrates would hold all of their preliminary hearings throughout the county. So what that would mean, it would mean that the sheriff would have to transport prisoners all over the county. ADAs and public defenders and lawyers would all have to travel to all these offices. So having Central Court just, I couldn't begin to calculate how much money it saves, but the director runs that operation seamlessly. Also, from a public safety standpoint, the person is responsible for making sure all the magistrates are coordinated with their on-call times. So when there's an emergency at night where rainings need to be held or PFA, emergency PFAs need to be processed, it's important that 911 knows who that magistrate is that's on call, and that magistrate knows that they are on call. Despite all that, the current salary for the person who holds this position is on a very low rung of people holding like positions, whether you call her a department head or middle management. She's at the very lowest rung in comparison to those positions, despite all of that importance of the position and despite all of that seniority. So I think the modest increase here, comparatively speaking, is well deserved.
Judge, thank you. And I appreciate your noting one of the comments that you made. And I apologize, I should have said this at the outset, and I'm glad you did. And I'll reiterate. When we meet in public, you're correct. We discuss the positions, not the person holding the position, because a week from now, that person, for whatever reason, perhaps might move on in some fashion. And so we generally don't name the person's name here. It's the focus of this board to look at the position. I should also note that, and the controller keeps us in line on this, which I greatly appreciate. The positions that we do talk about are non-union positions. The salary board cannot involve itself in union contracts. Those are developed.
Salary goes.
Yes, the commissioners enter into with our unions. So the people or the positions we're talking about are management or non-union positions. So, but again, Judge, thank you for noting that. Let me see if my colleagues have any questions or thoughts. Commissioner Sanada?
Judge Motto, welcome this morning.
Yeah.
Is this your last official meeting with us?
That is correct, right? You reconvene presumably in January.
Yes, that's
Judge Costa sitting here.
First, thank you for your 30 years of service.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. I've known you 30 years, and this is my first year of actually working with you in a professional manner. And you you've shown great professionalism and you will be missed up here on a full-time basis, but you're coming back periodically, so but I do want to thank you for your 30 years of service.
Well, thank you very much.
Second, you mentioned the Central Court. When was that established?
About 20 years ago. Actually, I would say, I can almost tell you almost exactly because it came about when Judge Pratt became president judge. And he was president judge for about 3 years. I've been there about 20. So it's been about 22, 23 years.
I mean, it sounds, it makes sense.
Yeah. Well, it's a great idea.
Yeah,
It just makes, like I said, everybody would have to travel all over the county. It's right there and it's just extremely efficient.
yeah, I had a chance, me and Commissioner Kennedy, when we first got elected, we did our tour around all the courts. We went over there and we were impressed with the operation over there. I think they do a very good job and like you're saying, it was efficient. We got an education, I think, when we were there, just how that whole operation works. So, until then, it's sort of a abstract idea. When you actually see the operation, it was really good. So I thank you, Judge. That was really on my question.
Okay.
Thank you, Chris. Controller Prestipine?
No, I'm good. Other than thank Judge Morrow and wish you well in your retirement.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's a good pleasure.
Commissioner Kennedy, any questions?
No questions, but yeah, thank you and have fun golfing.
That'll be on the agenda. I want to get my handicap below 15.
Don't beat me, that's all.
I might also add too, this does not increase the base. So the new person does not commit to the salary, either the old base or a new base.
Thank you for noting that, both of you. Appreciate that, gentlemen. Any other questions or concerns for Judge Motto relative to proposed resolution 27? Hearing none, it's been moved and seconded. I'll ask Vanessa to call the roll, please.
Judge Morrow,
Yes,
Controller Prestipine,
Yes,
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. Next on the agenda would be proposed resolution 28. And again, this involves the courts. So Judge Motto remains a voting member of the board, and I'll turn it over to you, Your Honor.
okay, I'm going in the order that was handed me, so I assume this is one with the part-time position. So I would move for the adoption of resolution 2024-28. Now therefore be it resolved by the Lawrence County Salary Board that one part-time judicial executive secretary be created at a rate of $25 an hour, and one part-time courtroom assistant at a rate of $25 per hour, with these part-time positions to be eliminated when the vacant full-time judicial executive secretary and courtroom assistant positions are filled, effective January 1, 2025. So if there's a second, I'll make the explanation.
Thank you, Judge. Is there a second to the motion that you've heard, gentlemen?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Sanada. Your Honor?
Well, as we know, I'm done here December 31st, but the Supreme Court has approved that I continue to work here as a senior judge, as needed after January 1. My secretary and my court assistant, they're retiring with me, so they will also be retired. But they are willing to come in when I'm working as needed, if needed, when needed. But they will be retired, so there would have to be an hourly rate established for them. And of course, if I do come in, I will need a court assistant or the secretary. So they are willing to serve in that position, in those positions, again, as needed. Can't predict exactly how much that will be, but we're estimating they'll probably be working at least 8 days a month. And again, if I'm doing something that doesn't need a lot of typing, I probably wouldn't call it a secretary, but I would need somebody called court clerk. So this hourly rate is the same rate that someone else who holds a part-time position is receiving. So that's how we came up with that hourly rate.
Judge, thank you for that information and background. To your knowledge, is the incoming president, Judge Cox, aware of this proposal?
Oh, yes. We've talked about the kinds of cases I would be doing, what I would be doing, and sort of thing. Yeah, and you know, if this wasn't done, I'd be trying to run around the corners trying to find a secretary or maybe somebody else's assistant. It would be cumbersome.
Understood. Thank you. Controller Prestipine, any questions for the judge? Commissioner Kennedy?
No.
Commissioner Sanada? No. Thank you. We have before us a motion and a second for proposed resolution 28. If there are no other questions or concerns, I'll ask for a roll call, please.
Judge Motto?
Yes,
Controller Prestipine?
Yes,
Commissioner Sinata?
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes?
Motion carries.
Thank you, Vanessa. And the final proposal that's before us from the courts would be proposed resolution 29. I do want to note before I turn it over to Judge Motto that on the printed agenda that you folks might have in the audience, it discusses the confidential assistant position to the district court administrator. I should note that the proposed resolution also touches on or discusses the judicial executive secretary positions. That is noted in the resolution. It's not noted in the agenda, so I just want to bring that to everybody's attention and make it part of the record. That being said, Judge, I'll turn it over to you.
I would move for the adoption of resolution 2024-29. Be it resolved that the Lawrence County Salary Board set the base rate of the confidential assistant to the district court administrator at $36,000. The base rate of all courtroom assistant positions we set at $36,000. And the base rate of all judicial executive secretary positions we set at $36,000. With the resolution being retroactive to December 9, 2024. So if there's a second, I'll get the explanation.
Would someone care to second that motion? Thank you, Mr. Prestipine. Your Honor?
Okay, well, with the, we've had several retirements up on the third floor. Courtroom 3 has had to hire a new courtroom, or actually a confidential secretary. The court administrator has had to hire a confidential secretary. But the people who've had these positions have been there so long that the new people will be coming in at a base rate that's adequate. So the discussion was to set the new base rates, not just for the secretaries, but also for the court assistant. We're going to have an election next year. We're going to elect 3 new judges, so there's probably going to be several of these positions that will need to be filled with next year. So this figure was arrived at by comparison to the union contract, which sets rates for people, clerical people having similar positions, but within the union. And that's how that figure was determined. So by taking this action now, you'll have basically set a new base rate for all these positions, which will be applicable for somewhat of a substantial period of time. The retroactivity to December 9th comes about because Courtroom 3 has hired, both Courtroom 3 and the court administrator have hired people in those positions. So December 9th was the date of the first person to be hired.
Thank you for noting that, Judge. I'll see if Commissioner Kennedy has any questions.
I do have one. I'm looking at my spreadsheets with everything on.
Okay.
I'd say 95% of these people make way more than 36,000. And this is, what was the base rate before?
Was it right now before this
Yeah.
consolidated? It's about 30,
so I was gonna say 31.
And it hasn't been
Yeah.
changed in years from what I looked at.
somewhere around 30.
So you're right, when we get new people in.
I mean, we've been blessed with a staff that was experienced, had been here a long time, very talented people, but, you know, retirement comes for everybody something. So it's a time of transition.
It's like about, this doesn't go with just you at the courts, but I think a lot of positions here in the courthouse that I'm looking at right now, are at the same rate with a lot of people. We gotta raise that base rate up to attract people. So, nothing against you, but you're getting it done before you leave. And it needs done because
Sure.
we're bringing these younger people in at $30,000
Absolutely not.
So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. Mr. Sanada, questions?
I pretty much echo what Commissioner Kennedy said, Judge. It's been many years since this base has been established with inflation and everything else. And I'm sure you're seeing it as well as, I've noticed this year to try to get quality individuals to apply for jobs. It's not an easy thing. And even though, with the benefits and things like that, it comes down to a base salary. And we're looking at here, it's not extravagant amounts of money. And to get quality people, and we were blessed, as you said, we have a lot of good people working there. As we transition into new people, we need to have a base that can actually be somewhat livable. So, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Controller Prestipine.
I'm good.
Okay, thank you, sir. Well, we have in front of us proposed resolution 29 that has been appropriately moved and seconded. If there are no other concerns, we could take a roll call, please.
Judge Morton,
Yes.
Controller Prestipine,
Yes,
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Judge, as my colleagues all noted, we congratulate you on your many years of service to the people of Lawrence County. And we always wish people in your position both a lengthy retirement and a healthy and enjoyable retirement. But it's been a pleasure working with you. The good thing is we'll still see you. That's what I'm happy about. We will still see you.
I can only say that the 30-plus years that I've served on the bench here has been an absolute pleasure. I mentioned the other day at the reception, I always told myself that I would retire when I got up some morning and felt like I didn't want to come to work, and that day never came. Actually, still hasn't come. So I can only say I've been blessed. My heart is just filled with gratitude, and everybody I've had the occasion to work with, judges, elected officials, commissioners, staff, district attorneys, defense attorneys, everybody has been just so wonderful to work with. I just couldn't, outside of my marriage and my children, nothing has been of greater importance and pleasure. But thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you, Amy. Ellen, I'm only 3 years behind him. I'm going to wrap up in 3 years, so I'll have to consult with him and learn all about retirement in 3 years. We'll miss Judge Motto. We're blessed. We have a tremendous incoming president judge in Judge Cox. So I anticipate that transition will be seamless. And we're blessed with a strong bench, as I think the attorneys in the room can attest to. Next on the agenda, District Attorney Lamon Kusa is with us today. And Josh, we welcome you. And as we noted to...
Hey, Larry, you mind, Josh? Larry's got to run the court.
Yes, okay.
Joe just told me that when I come in.
Okay, yeah, if I'd have known, I'd have made the adjustment.
This is what Commissioner Kennedy does us.
Mr. Lamon, are you okay with that?
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to jump down to item 4 on the agenda. Bear with me just a minute.
That's why it snowed this morning. I get to go before Josh Little.
Public Defender has 2 proposals before us. Vanessa, for numbering purposes, how do you want to number this one?
You can give him 30, that's
30?
fine.
Okay. This is proposed resolution 30. Do you have the documents that you need?
I do. I can't make the motion.
Right. Yeah, right. Unlike the judge and the district attorney, the other folks with whom we'll be talking this morning are not elected officials. Accordingly, they don't have a vote on these matters, but they do have the ability to present their request to us. So in front of us are 2 proposals. The first, which we will number 30. This involves the assistant, 3 full-time assistant public defender positions in the Office of Public Defender. And office has received a grant from the Commonwealth, which I'll let Mr. Keith explain to us, please.
Thank you, Mr. Berger. I'll start because I think it's really important that both of these proposals or both of these requests will not come at any expense, extra expense to the county. In fact, one of them will save the county some money, at least for a couple of years. The motion currently before you gentlemen, we received a grant from the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency. The grant is related to indigent defense support in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. All of the counties in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania were eligible for this grant, and there was a certain amount of money allocated to each county, or up to a certain amount of money allocated to each county. We made that application and we were able to get the full amount that was allocated to us. One of the biggest goals, or I guess the biggest reasons for this statewide indigent defense grant was to help create parity, meaning a little bit more equal pay scale between the public defenders in a county and the district attorneys in a county. The full-time district attorneys are compensated significantly more than the full-time assistant public defenders. This grant that was given to us allows us to give the full-time assistant defenders a $15,000 employment retention incentive bonus at the end of 2024 and the end of 2025. This is not renewable at this point. We've only been approved for it for 2 years. So understand, and everybody needs to understand, we're not going to get twice necessarily. If the money's there again and it's offered, we'll ask. But I think everybody receiving it knows this is at best 2 times and done. It'll be $15,000 payable to them as a retention incentive at the end of this year. And if they remain employed at the end of 2025, we'll come back and ask for that again. And again, that money is coming from the grant, the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency. We're going to be reimbursed for it. It's already been allocated, and they will give it to us. So we're asking, since that's been approved, we have the money. The full-time assistant public defenders lived up to their end of the bargain. They stayed employed till the end of this year. That you approve the request that Mr. Prestipine is about to leave.
Let me know, thank you, Mr. Keith. Let me note that, as was stated, this does affect the full-time assistant public defenders. The actual dollar amount of the retention incentive is $14,997 per position. And also enter into the record the fact that the incentive will not increase the annual salary of these 3 positions, and it will not be included in annual cost of living adjustment calculations. Let me see if Mr. Prestipine has questions or concerns.
No, the only thing I just wanted to clarify that that amount was written in the grant and can be used for this purpose only. There's no other reason, there's no other way you can spend that money.
That's correct. We don't have any discretion to use it any other way. That amount.
Anything else, Dave?
No.
Commissioner Sanada?
Yeah, thank you, Councilor Keith. This program is going on throughout the state,
Yes.
so most counties are implementing this grant program.
I believe most counties applied and got funds for the grant. I can't speak to what they're using what each county is using the funds for, or what they were given the funds for. I know many counties certainly have been given the funds for employment retention.
I know that when we were at the CCAP conference, I know this subject came up among some of the other commissioners. And so I think this program is going to be implemented in many counties throughout the state. And you do emphasize this is not coming out of county taxpayer dollars.
That's correct.
And they understand that this program is eliminated. It's gone. It's not going to be made up by the county.
They understand that all too well.
All right, Counselor, well, we appreciate that, because I don't want any misunderstandings coming in 2 years if the program's not reviewed by the state. Maybe they can't come back up to us when it becomes our fiscal situation here, so. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Kennedy?
Nothing, I'm fine.
Question? Any other comments on this matter?
No.
Thank you. Could I have a motion for proposed resolution 30?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, gentlemen. Any further discussion? If not, I'll ask Vanessa to call the roll.
Controller Prestipine,
Yes,
Commissioner Sanado,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes,
motion carries.
thank you. Proposed resolution 31 also falls under the jurisdiction of the public defender. The request is that the salary board create 2 part-time paralegal positions, and that the rate of pay, since these are union positions, would be in accordance with the collective bargaining agreement that we have with the Teamsters Union. And the effective date of this would be January 1 of 2025. I'll turn it over to Mr. Keith for any information he'd like to share with us, please.
For anybody who doesn't know, our office has 3 full-time paralegals. The 2 full-time paralegals have announced their retirement. That's a big hit for any law office. We are a law office, and to lose probably close to 60 years of collective experience is going to crush us. Because these are great employees that have served the county in that office for many years, they're not going to leave us high and dry. They will come back part-time, they'll split that time. What that will allow us to do is replace one of them with 1 full-time paralegal, and one of the 2 individuals retiring will be there every day to help keep continuity in the day-to-day operations of the office and to help train that new paralegal. It will save the county money because we're not going to fill 2 positions right away, which will save us on a benefit package. And I have to believe that the overall salary would be dollars and cents. That would save us money on that. And if it'll make everybody more comfortable, put a time limit on it. We will not fill the other full-time position until these 2 part-times are abolished, if that's what you want. So I'm not asking for anything in addition. I'm just asking to get us by.
Thank you. Commissioner Kennedy, questions? Controller Prestipine?
No.
Commissioner Sanada? No. The last comment that Mr. Keith made, in your opinion, I'm of the opinion we don't need to modify the resolution as it's stated. I think we'll take him at his word, obviously, and it's part of the record. So unless you feel we need to make any amendatory language, okay. Gentlemen, are you both okay with that? Sure. Could I have a motion for resolution 31, please?
I'll make that motion.
Kennedy moves and Mr. Prestipine seconds. Any other concerns or questions? Anything else, Mr. Keith?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Roll call, please.
Controller Prestipine,
yes,
Commissioner Sanado,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes,
motion carries.
thank you very much. Counselor, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for your time. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Tell me if they better salt, it's really gonna snow.
We will now go back to the agenda as it was printed. And the district attorney has a couple of proposals for us. And if I'm just to keep myself in order and the rest of us, we're going to start with resolution 32. Is that correct,
Yes.
Vanessa? Thank you. Mr. Leonard Kusa,
may I remain here?
of course, I was going to invite you up. If
No,
you're always
please.
welcome to come, and you're fine there, whatever's comfortable for you. And we appreciate you taking the time to be with us today, Mr. Leonard Kusa. The first proposal, number 32, is a technical amendment that I believe the controller felt we needed to. Would you object if I asked the controller to explain it, or would you care to go first?
Not at all, please.
now basically, when we got a pot of money, Act 77 money that came in with the new act that started 22, I believe. And the information we got from the state was incorrect as to who controlled the money. Initially, initially, the way they gave us the information, it seemed like it was the district attorney's money, but it turned out it's actually adult probation's money. There is a part of Act 77 that is the district attorney's money, but it's not the part that we were talking about here, which is kind of got confusing when they gave it to us. So we initially made this position in the district attorney's office. District Attorney Lamacusa was going to use part of that money to help fund the position. However, we found out we we're not allowed to do that because this money actually belongs to adult probation. So you have to take that line out of the resolution that says we're going to use the money for that position.
Thank you for that explanation. And so it's a corrective amendment. Basically, we're amending Resolution 2023-41, and we will be removing the portion that states, quote, $12,000 of this position shall be funded by the Act 77 fund, end of quote. We didn't mean to steal your thunder, but I'll now turn it over to you, Josh, if you have anything you wish to add.
For what it's worth, the state did apologize. We had several Zoom conferences in which Controller Pressipine and myself and the public courts we were present for, along with representatives from the state. There was a lot of confusion throughout the entire Commonwealth regarding the use of these funds, how they were used. They received some new guidance that crystallized and clarified what this money could be used for and who would be responsible for the management of it. But as it stands right now, based upon the prior salary board resolution, we do have to amend under 2024 TAC 32. We have to amend the prior resolution of 2023 TAC 41. So I would move this board to make the amendment as written in the resolution that's been presented.
This is Resolution 32. We have a motion. Would someone care to second it?
Also,
Thank you, Mr. Preston. So what I'm hearing you say is that it's very possible that in some other counties, they may be going through the same process we are, possibly. Let me see if Commissioner Sanada has any questions.
No, it's pretty straightforward.
Thank you, Chris. Controller Pressipine, anything else?
No.
Mr. Kennedy?
I'm good.
Okay, thank you. It's been moved and seconded for Resolution 32, and as we've noted, Mr. Lamacusa is a voting member of the board at this time, so we'll include him in the roll call, which I'll ask for.
District Attorney Lamacusa,
Yes.
Controller Pressipine,
yes,
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. The next proposed resolution, which would be number 33, if we consider it, is this the one that you felt we needed to withdraw?
yes, we have to withdraw these positions in this resolution that was a request for an increase for are actually union positions. So in order to increase the rate of pay for those, it has to go through the collective bargaining process.
Controller, did you receive the letter? There was a letter that was.
We did.
Okay.
We forwarded it to Mr. Medor.
Perfect.
And talked to the
Perfect.
union about getting the MOU drawn.
So then perhaps we could consider this at the next salary board. which
Well,
is-
once the MOU is drawn up, it's done.
Oh.
The positions are already created. So if the union and the commissioners agree to amend the contract for this increase, then that's all that has to happen.
Well, then, if we're going to withdraw, I would like to state so that it's on the record, because ultimately this would translate, if the commissioners do agree to a salary increase. And I want to make it very clear to the general public and to everyone present that this salary increase would not cost the taxpayers any additional money, as it would be absorbed into the money that is already present in the co-responder fund. And that money comes from MH, Mental Health and Disability Services, which is state funded. So I do think it's very important to state publicly that these increases will not cost the taxpayers any additional money. And the increases are due because these are two individuals that are working 24 hours, they're on call 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and do not collect overtime payment. They are salaried employees, and their impact in the criminal justice system, their impact in the mental health world is substantial, to the point where they've been fully funded by the state for the work that they're performing. I just felt that was relevant to state on the record.
Appreciate that very much, and so that we have all of this on the record, the proposal involves two positions, the co-responder 1 position, the co-responder 2 position. And the proposal is that those 2 positions see an increase in their salaries by $2,500 each. And the positions would not receive a 2025 COLA, but then again, that gets a little complicated
Yeah,
because this is
That was when we drew this up, assuming they were non-union positions, they are not, so all of that information is gonna have to be bargained between the commissioners and
the union.
So whether they do it that way or a different way, that's completely up to them.
Understood. What I'd like to ask, I don't need a motion per se, but for the record, are you requesting that we withdraw this proposed resolution?
Yes, I am requesting that, sir.
Thank you. And we'll honor and respect your request, and accordingly, it will not be assigned a number. Okay, thank you. I've noted on here that it has been withdrawn. So thank you both, gentlemen. In fairness to my other colleagues, though, any concerns or Dan, anything?
Nothing.
Chris, any concerns? Okay, thank you, gentlemen. And then we're now looking at proposed resolution 33. Am I right, Vanessa?
Yes.
Thank you. And this would be the last proposal in front of us from the district attorney. And this involves the position of Assistant District Attorney 6, if I'm not mistaken. But Mr. Lamoncoos, I'll turn it over to you for your background on this, please.
Yes, sir. This resolution is for a salary increase for Assistant District Attorney 6, and it's based upon funding that comes from the crisis shelter that is now known as ARISE. They are the recipient of what is called a STOP grant. And this is a domestic violence grant. And part of the grant, in the application, there is to be named 2 prosecutors that are to receive this funding. As part of the funding request, there is a slew of additional responsibilities that will be placed upon the prosecutors that have been assigned as STOP grant recipients. One of the prosecutors already receives it, so that is not an issue. With regard to Assistant District Attorney number 6, they were not part of the original grant. The monies that have come in through the STOP grant through ARISE, these are monies that come from the state. They are not additional taxpayer dollars. It's not going to come at any additional expense to Lawrence County. This is specifically a state-funded grant for increasing prosecutor responsibilities as they relate to prevention and prosecution of domestic violence. Of course, any increase, if it is approved by this board, it's always going to be contingent upon receiving the grant funds from the state. And if the funds are decreased or eliminated in any fashion, then obviously we would have to come back in and address the issue. But they will not receive, this Assistant District Attorney would not receive this salary unless it was guaranteed by state funding through the grant.
Thank you for that information, Josh. The specific dollar amount that comes from this grant is $12,704.84. And as Mr. Lamoncoos noted, the resolution states that this dollar amount will only remain in effect for the duration of the grant and would be eliminated upon the expiration of the grant. Finally, this increase would take effect on January 1 of 2025. And as a result, the position shall not receive a 2025 COLA. You're in line with that?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
That would be unfair.
Certainly. Mr. Prestipine, questions for the district
The
attorney?
only thing is to clarify with the public defender grant, that amount's written in the grant for a salary increase, and that's all it can be used for is the salary increase.
Oh, with the public, yes, yeah, in fact, the grant
It's
actually,
similar to what it is.
grant has 3 specific categories. It's 1 salary for an assistant district attorney, a 2nd salary for the district attorney, and then a training amount. That is the only use that you can make of those monies. They can't be reallocated, and we are not allowed, and I did look into, could we plug the money in to subsidize and then pull the money out? The grant specifically prohibits that.
Anything else, Dave?
No, that's all.
Mr. Kennedy, any questions for Josh? No? Mr. Sonata?
Josh, is this just for 1 year or is this a 2-year?
They used to be 2-year grants. The state has now gone to 1-year grants, so this will be for 1 year. The expectation is that they will renew it, but you yourself know that that could change year to year.
Just want to clarify, because I know that Counselor Keith, that was a 2-year grant, so yours is a 1-year.
1 year, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I've got somewhat of a technical question based upon the discussion you two gentlemen just had. I'll look to my controller for some guidance here. We're noting in the resolution the specific dollar amount that's being earmarked, $12,704.84. If that amount is similar a year from now, I would assume we don't have to take any action. But if that amount were to change, we would have to take action of a salary. Is that your understanding? And does that conform with your line of thinking?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I appreciate that.
I do anticipate that it will change. It'll be a couple $100 up or down.
Okay, which again would then necessitate us having to readdress it. Okay, but if it doesn't change, I'm assuming it remains in effect.
Yes.
As noted, unless the grant should
Yeah,
expire.
because we're adding this to this person's salary.
Yeah.
And that'll just continue up to be part of the salary as we go. If the grant increases or decreases, that number changes, well, we would have to change her salary, then come back here.
Thank you for noting that. Thank you. Yes. Would someone care to make a motion for proposed resolution 33?
I so move.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Sonata. Any final concerns or questions for Mr. Lamatusa? Hearing none, I'll ask for a roll call, please.
District Attorney Lamatusa,
Yes.
Controller Preston,
Yes,
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you, Vanessa. Josh, I believe that's all you have for us today, and
Gentlemen, stay healthy and thank you very much.
we wish you the very same. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Take care. Now, we'll move on to mental health and developmental services. We have our director, Mr. Scott Baldwin, who is with us, and pleased to see you as always. We have 2 proposals. The first one, we're going to let you talk about. The second one, I think it's more appropriate that we bring forward, since it involves your position.
Yeah.
But for the first one, the proposal in front of us, which, by the way, this would be 34.
Yes,
Thank you. Proposed resolution 34. The board is being asked to consider for us to create a mental health and developmental services fiscal manager position. It would be a non-union position at a base rate of $60,000, taking effect on January 1, 2025. Mr. Baldwin, would you like to give some information?
So I was actually in Harrisburg for a funding meeting when you had the executive, so if I don't use the right terminology, I'm sure Joe did a good job doing it. But, I always say our office is like the unicorn. We have seen steady increases in our funding from the state, federal government yearly, almost to the point of $4 million increase since I started with the blocker, which is good. But as we know, with state, federal government, there are reporting requirements and monitoring that needs to come with that. And that's caused us to do a little bit of reorganizing in our fiscal department. So that's what we're asking today, is that we create this chief fiscal manager position to take on a lot of these extra duties that require us to monitor how we're spending these dollars to the state. So again, this is no cost to the county. This is all paid under the block grant. Again, we're pretty blessed to have these additional dollars. As the district attorney mentioned, this co-responder position are these new dollars that we got. And as they come in, we get them out. But sort of need to do a little bit of a higher level of monitoring. So just to make sure we're all clean.
Yeah, thank you. And when you say it covers the cost, does that include not only the salary but the benefits as well? Those benefit costs are covered by this through the Commonwealth.
Yeah. So no cost at all.
Thank you, sir. I'll see if Commissioner Sonata has any questions.
Yes, is someone in the office now ready to take this position, or?
Yeah, we're just reorganizing it, so yeah, there'll be a savings. Really, not a savings, but no additional cost to that. So
So you have
it's
an
part of it.
employee that's there, can move into this position already skilled. So there's the job. Okay, that sounds good to me.
So your expectation is you don't foresee having to post it or go outside the building and look for people? Okay, that's fine. And again, since it's a non-union position, then you have that flexibility. So, thank you. Thanks for, that's a good question. I appreciate that. Commissioner, anything else, Chris? No. Commissioner Kennedy?
Nothing.
Okay, thank you, sir. And Controller Prestipine? Nope. Thank you. Anything else on this proposal? Would one of the board members care to make a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Thank you both, gentlemen. If there are no other concerns or questions, we'll take a roll call, please.
Controller Prestipine,
Yes.
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you, Vanessa. Now, the next proposal, number 35, and again, just have a seat and we'll talk. Because it does involve the position of Director of Mental Health and Developmental Services. It was noted to us by our county administrator that, and I actually may need a little help from you unless Mr. Prestipine can fill in some of the blanks. But your position has taken on some additional responsibilities that not only require more work from you during the 8 to 4 workday, but I think, if I recall correctly, would necessitate your having to, if the need were to arise, be available for work evenings, nights, weekends. Do I have that right? Okay. That was my overall understanding of why the request has been made, or the suggestion has been made. Basically, it's come to us from our county administrator, who used to be the MHDS director. Now, I've kind of given an overview. Did I miss anything? Okay. So that being said, and Dan and Chris, was that your understanding of why we're looking at this change?
I remember Administrator Vanasco explained to us that right now, you're getting called weekends, evenings, midnight. And could you maybe just
Yeah,
explain what
sure.
you do there?
So really the history of the Mental Health Procedures Act, 302, the involuntary commitment, that authority was always contracted out to Human Services Center as part of the county responsibilities. This past year, the state said that no longer is a service that can be contracted, that has to be done with the county office, which we've never done before in the history of the Procedures Act, which was fine. We reorganized those duties, and my staff performs that on-call, similar to what CYS would do, but we didn't add new staff, and it requires a supervision of those duties. I did it for years when I was at the center. It's pretty seamless. I know what to do, but you're right, there's a call time that comes with that, and we do that now in house. But I do appreciate, I did come to the commissioners just for asking for a raise, but Joe did that, and I appreciate the, understanding what the county does and the role is. It did increase a lot of our duties, but
Yeah, Commissioner Vanasco. Administrator Vanasco gave us a pretty thorough, how this, I just want to get an understanding from you because he wasn't as technical as you. So you're performing these duties now, and it can be,
since July, we
Yeah.
started it. It cost the county anything, we just pulled those duties back and contract that service to the center. So we've been doing it since July 1st of the fiscal year.
I think it's something that's very important that needs to be done. So we thank you for your efforts in doing it, and now we'd like to recognize that. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Chris. And before I turn it over to Mr. Kennedy, then, just to clarify, this dollar amount of $2,815.77, which would take effect January 1, and the position would not receive 2025 COLA. Dollars that go to cover this increase, you might understand, they come through the block grant. Is it 90-10 or is it 100%?
This is the blocker.
Okay.
So, it's part of our block grant allocation, so whatever that is, the
Okay, so is it safe to say that either all of it or the vast majority of it would be paid for by the Commonwealth? Okay, thank you. Mr. Kennedy, questions?
The only thing, Chief Vanasco said, he didn't think the COLA, leave the COLA in for 2025. That was one thing he said to me, he said, I think that's wrong.
Well, we can talk about that.
Yeah, I think we should. You're right, Commissioner, because we're looking at what, 2015, and with the COLA, you're pretty much, what he's getting there. It's about a wash, so I think maybe that's
I think that was Joe's concern.
You, are you of the mindset that you would like to, since we don't even have a motion yet, but if a motion is made, the motion could include language that would remove the prohibition of the COLA?
Yeah.
That sound right, if that's the wish of the board? Okay, appreciate it. You have other questions?
No, that was the only one. I was looking at this, and I have notes saying here that plus the COLA.
Okay.
I'm glad you saw that, because we've been going that the other way, with some of the other numbers, but those numbers actually generated an increase. But if we don't do that, your increase is pretty much
About $40.
Yeah.
What it comes out to.
Good point, yeah. Well, Dan, thank you very much on that. That all being said, did you have questions? No, Mr. President. Would someone then care to make a motion, perhaps with the amendatory language needed to adjust this?
I'll make that motion, to amend it with the COLA staying in place for 2025.
And I'll second that motion.
What I'm gonna do is, under item 2, where it states, this increase shall take effect January 1, 2025, I'm gonna put the period there and then scratch the remainder, which says, and this position shall not receive a 2025 COLA. So it'll be a given.
Well, actually, in order to get the 2025 COLA, we'll have to get that before the first, I would say just get rid of the whole thing.
Oh, okay,
Make it effective today.
yeah, that's fine.
And then it will go into January 1st with the COLA.
Okay, gentlemen, based on the controller's recommendation then, and you're the maker of the motion, would you be willing to amend item 2 to state this increase shall take effect December, state 20? Is that okay with you as far as payroll purposes? Okay. Dan, would you be willing to amend that to state December 20, 2024? Okay. And I believe, did you second the motion?
Yes.
Are you okay with that
Yes.
adjustment?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. So that we're clear, Resolution 35 will then read, the Director of MHDS shall receive a salary increase of $2,815.77. The increase shall take effect December 20, 2024, period. And it's not noted in the resolution, but we've stated it for the record that at least 90% of this, maybe 100%, but at least 90% of this adjustment is handled through the Commonwealth. Okay. You've heard the motion and the second, and we've entered it into the record. Are there any other questions that any of you have? You ready to take a roll call? Let's do that then, please.
Controller Prestonfine,
Yes,
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes.
motion carries.
And Scott, I know that it's probably a little bit awkward for you. We're sitting here hashing this out. You're sitting right there, but it's what we have to do. Appreciate your understanding, and I hope you'll accept it as recognition of our appreciation for the work that you and your staff do every day.
I do, I greatly appreciate it, yes, always support that, so.
Thank you, Scott. Wish you a Merry Christmas. Take care. Our Veterans Director, Jesse Putnam, is with us. Jesse, good morning. If you'd like to come, please, we welcome you. This will be number 36, Vanessa?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Jesse, thank you for being here today. And you have a proposal before us that would, in the Office of Veterans Affairs, would create a non-union position to be known as Assistant Director of Veterans Affairs, and the base rate would be $44,000. Most of our offices, most of our departments do have an assistant or a deputy. Most of them, not all, but most of them do. And currently you don't, which is, I'm assuming, one of the reasons you'd like for us to consider this. So would you mind giving us some background on this and your rationale for asking us to consider this, please?
Sure, absolutely. So I'm sure the board of you are aware, this is the first time I've ever been to this board. I've never asked for really anything in that office. We all enjoy what we do in there, but the numbers have doubled or say tripled, that are coming in our office of veterans and their family members. We do service all of them. And with that, that's one of the reasons I am asking for this, because then I am with other people and I do need somebody to also make decisions on my behalf when I am busy or doing whatever. I would like to start doing more community outreach, but again, I can't really leave until I know that there is somebody in that office to make decisions on my behalf that I do trust. I would like to make note, though, that this office has brought in over $3 million for the state's fiscal year, which we all know is different than ours. We've brought in over $3 million to this county, to veterans or their family members. That is tax-free benefits that they spend within our county. So I think that has grown over the years, which shows what we do and how much people do entrust us to assist them with their benefits. So that is what I'm looking forward to.
Jesse, thank you, and we see it every day. You're always busy. There's always somebody in that office. And I think, I'm sure I speak for my colleagues, that you and your staff are not only very professional, but you're also very caring people. And you take time to work with these folks who have given to our country. I'm going to see if Commissioner Kennedy has any questions.
The only thing I have to say is, being here for the first year, one thing I've noticed with her staff, we've gone to different things, and Jesse's always there with set up with a booth. And it's noted by the people in this county what she's doing. The other thing is, we miss her, I think, a couple of weeks a year when you go to serve our country again. And this is a little thing we can do to help her out, because we thank you for doing that. Without people like you, we wouldn't be able to sit up here today and do what we're doing. So we thank you, and thank you for still serving, and doing what you're doing. You've been a blessing to this county, I think, really, from what I hear from the outside here. I haven't heard anybody yell about her yet, so you must be doing a great job, as I know.
Don't change it.
Thank you.
Commissioner, thank you very much. And Jesse, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Commonwealth does require that each county have a Veterans Affairs office. So
You are correct.
you have counterparts at every other courthouse in the state.
Correct, yes, it is part of the county code.
Controller Prestipine, do you have questions? Do not. Okay. Mr. Sonata.
I'll just emphasize, Jesse, I worked with you for many years. My prior role was the Veterans Chairman in Pennsylvania for 12 years, and my office worked with your office, helped a lot of veterans. I know what you're saying, the volume. Over the years, I've seen that volume rise, and you and your staff have done a great job up here. I'm seeing it from a different perspective than I did for the prior 12 years, and I'm impressed what I'm seeing here. And as Commissioner Kennedy knows, your appearances in the community are important. I've had an opportunity to be with you a few times. We have a diversity county on our veterans throughout. I think that that's very important too, as your role as veteran director, to be out in the community, to have someone here, as you said, that can make some of these decisions while you're out doing your outreach. Outreach is important, especially for our veterans. And I see it firsthand, so we appreciate what you're doing, and I think this is a good idea, and I think this will help serve the veterans even better. So that's it.
Chris, thank you very much. If there are no other questions or concerns for Jesse, could I have a motion for proposed resolution 36?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Dan. If there are no other comments, we'll take a roll call, please.
Controller Preston,
Yes,
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes,
motion carries.
thank you. Jesse, thank you so
Thank
much.
you. You all have a nice holiday.
Wish you the
Thank
same.
you, I appreciate it.
Take care. Stay safe.
You.
The next two requests come from our voter services office. And the director, Mr. Germaini, has taken a very well-deserved vacation. He and his staff were put to the test this year. And I would say they passed that test with flying colors. The three of us, three commissioners, serve as the Board of Elections. So we work very closely with Mr. Germaini and his staff. And there were some problems in some other counties, some very significant problems in some other counties, unfortunately. And we did not experience anything like that. It was pretty seamless. And poor Tim, every day there'd be a new court ruling or a new issue of guidance from Harrisburg. He had to really stay on the ball. So given the fact that he's not here today, I think collectively we can talk about this. He has requested, I will note too, he did meet with us in executive session. But he has two proposals before us. Number 37 would be, he's requesting that the Deputy Director of Voter Services receive a salary increase of $2,952.22. It's a non-union position. Now, the way it's worded right now, it states here the increase will take effect January 1, and the position would not receive the COLA. But Dan, does this put us in a similar?
It puts us, she'll make about $1,500 more than what the COLA would be.
Okay,
So
he gave a certain salary, and that number gets to that salary.
I see. Okay,
When we say what we wanted.
that position's gonna get to 50,000.
Okay. so from where you sit, at least, are you comfortable then by keeping the language that's in the resolution?
Yeah, I think that.
Okay.
It's about a $1,400 difference.
On top of it.
On top, okay.
Top of
It's
it.
15 on top of the COLA that between the rate now and the COLA, about $1,400.
Okay, and I know you've been very focused on, you've been spending a lot of time focused on these amounts. That's why I kind of look to you for your,
He's had a lot of, this position has had a lot of years of service here, though. And, it's one of them, there's a few that have been here a lot of years and they continue to work, so it's nice.
well, since I called on you, do you have any other thoughts or questions or concerns? Okay, thank you. Mr. Sanada?
I want to just say that the position that we're talking about, the individual that works there now, he's been 30+ years. And I think she does an excellent job with Tim. As we've seen how things operated, she's been, I think, a good employee. And this, I think that just shows a little recognition that, for 30+ years and, assist Tim and assist us as commissioners. I mean, between the employee and Tim, they were up in our office, every other day, sometimes during the election season. I have no issues with this, and I think it's well deserved.
Thank you. And Controller Preston?
Yeah, just as I said, the individual has been there a long time, he said 30 years, and I don't recall much, if any, of an increase that was given to this individual, other than the length of the COLA that was given. Over the time.
Thank you, David. Well, once again, this is a non-union position, and the adjustment to the salary would be $2,952.22, but the position did not receive the 2025 COLA. But at the end of the day, as Mr. Kennedy noted, there will still be an increase. Gentlemen, this is proposed resolution 37. Would someone care to make a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Chris. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And thank you very much. Are there any other concerns? If not, we'll take a roll call, please.
Controller Prestipine,
Yes,
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. And then also from Voter Services, Mr. Germaini has requested us to consider, and this would be proposed resolution 38, the creation of a part-time election coordinator position, which would be a non-union position. The rate of pay would be $19.50 an hour. My understanding is this position would, since it is part-time, the person who would hold this position would come in advance of the two elections each year, primary and the general, and then work a few weeks after the election to wrap everything up. That's my understanding, number one. And then number two, Dave, does it go without saying that since this would be a part-time position, it doesn't specifically say it in here, but is it a given that there would be no benefits with the position?
most likely it would depend on hours.
I
would
see.
say, well, being that she's only working for the two elections, I wouldn't think she would reach that.
Okay, all right. Something we'll all keep an eye on, right? Okay, thank you. Dave, since I called on you, do you have questions or concerns about this?
No.
Thank you. Commissioner Sanada?
No, I think it's probably a position that's needed.
Thank you. And Commissioner Kennedy?
The only thing I got to say is, she's one, this position with one lady that works and is well respected, all the people she has to contact. She has done a fantastic job. Couldn't ask for anything better. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Dan. Once again, this resolution would create a part-time election coordinator position in the voter services office. The rate of pay would be $19.50 per hour. And would take effect on January 1. Would someone care to make a motion? Thank you, Dave. Is there a second? I'll second. Chris, thank you so much. Any other concerns, gentlemen? If not, we'll ask Vanessa to call the roll.
Controller Prestipine,
Yes,
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. The Recycling and Solid Waste Department is represented this morning by Mr. Jerry Zona. And let the record show, he has a very nice holiday Christmas necktie on that has a polar bear and Santa Claus and a reindeer. And I like that.
It says recycled.
Yes, it does. How appropriate. Jerry, thank you for joining us. Thank you for your patience this morning. And you would like for us to consider proposed resolution 39, and the position you'd like us to consider in terms of our discussion would be the assistant director position. The way the resolution is worded is that position would receive a change in their salary of $3,250 that would take effect on January 1 of 2025. But as with the most recent position we talked about, they would not receive the 2025 COLA. Jerry, I'll let you fill us in on the reasoning behind your request, please.
Thank you. Well, Ms. Colin, Jesse, I think the last time I sat before salary board was back in 2010 when we actually merged with Mercer County for the operation. So it's been quite some time.
That would have been myself, Steve Craig, and Rick de Blasio, probably.
So
Yeah, that would have been Commissioner de Blasio. Wow. I'm sorry, didn't mean to
No,
interrupt.
that's okay. This is kind of on the lines of what Judge Motto, as far as merit and experience goes. The person that's in this capacity has been with the county in various roles for 22 years. Exceptional employee, very loyal. When I'm out of the office, everything is taken care of. I don't even have to worry about anything. I think this is something that is definitely long overdue, and that's the reason for this request. Evening work, weekend. Again, it's a salary position, so there's no overtime, and it's gone well above and beyond to extend herself. This request will also bring her a little closer to what the other recycling coordinators and people in similar positions are paying. Still on the lower end, and that's considering that people that don't even have as much experience as she does. So we're in a unique situation because 50% of our salaries are reimbursed by the state. And because of the partnership that we have with Mercer County, that remaining 50% is split between the counties. So at the end of the day, our salaries are, the county's only out 25% of our salaries.
I've asked you this probably a dozen times, and I got to make it 13. Given the structure that we have, where you're handling the work of two counties, and you do report to two different boards of commissioners, the Mercer commissioners, and my two colleagues and myself. And forgive me, because you've told me this, but I need to hear it again. When we do make a change such as this one, do you also have to go in front of their board, their salary board as well, or do we handle that end of it?
We handle that end. As part of our intergovernmental agreement, they've agreed that whatever decisions we make as far as salary, benefits, staffing goes are on the Lawrence County end. And they just abide by it.
And thank you, and forgive me, because again, you've probably said that more times than you have to, but thank you.
It's been a while, so.
Well, I sometimes need to hear things far more than once. Let me see if Commissioner Sanada has questions.
No, it's very straightforward. It's a long time employee. I appreciate the longevity and experience counts.
Controller Preston.
Nothing.
And Commissioner Kennedy.
Nothing at all.
One concern, if I may, Dan, I think that she may be in a similar boat with regards to the COLA, where at the end of the day, for you might be like an extra $1,500 without the COLA, going into 2025.
It's about $1,613. And it would be 1,637.
In other words, if we do this, she'll make an additional 1,600.
Yeah,
If we didn't do it, then if we just did the COLA.
Yeah.
Okay. What are the wishes of the board as far as that's concerned then?
oh, that's what's the wishes of you.
I'd like for her to get the increase along with the COLA.
We just recently here in the last 15 minutes or so didn't include a COLA for one individual, did we not?
No.
Well, I'll open it up if someone wishes to make a motion. And you can either make a motion as the resolution is so worded, or if you wish to amend the motion, you can do likewise.
For consistency, we have two options here. If we do as you request, then I think we have to go back to the prior employee and do the same thing. Because I don't think, we're talking the same amount of money, the difference.
Roughly right in the same neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean, I want to be consistent. I have no problem if we're going to go back. If we're going to do it for your department, I'd like to do it for the election officers. It's up to, I guess, 5 of us.
4 of us.
4 of us, yeah.
I appreciate you going to bat for your employee, your coworker. That speaks well for you, but I agree with Commissioner Sanada. We need to be consistent. I'd rather be consistent with what we did. Just a few months.
I'm fine with that too.
Yeah, I understand. I would just go with you, Chair.
But it's a credit that you
Thank you for considering.
certainly. Well, we've had that discussion. If there are no other questions or concerns, would one of the board members wish to make a motion?
I'll make the motion to accept.
Proposing resolution 39 as it's worded.
As it's worded.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Is there a second?
No, sir.
Thank you, David. Any other questions or concerns, gentlemen? We'll take a roll call, please.
Controller Preston,
Yes.
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes,
motion carries.
Jerry, thank you very much. You take care.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. I want to offer an apology to the controller. I should have offered you the ability to bring your proposals right at the same time the other two elected officials did. So we try to put our elected officials first. Of course, you had to be
I'm
here
here
anyway,
anyway.
so next time around, we'll put you up towards the front since you're an elected official. So thank you for your understanding. The Controller's Office has a proposal. This would be proposed resolution 40. And David, I'm just going to turn it over to you to give the background on this.
Okay,
please.
basically, the employees in my office, we're talking about two of them at this time, they're union employees, are classified in the contract as accountants. There's a higher classification that is classified as fiscal operation officers. People in my office run the fiscal affairs for all 30-some departments here in this courthouse. The people that sit in those fiscal operation officer positions run the fiscal affairs just for their department. Yeah, this the work that my office does. You know, the accounts payable, we pay those departments' bills, we do their payroll, the reporting requirements, the bookkeeping we do is the basis for the reporting they have to do. And they make substantially more than the people in my office who do it for multiple departments. So all I want to do is I just want to move them up to that classification of the fiscal operation officer. They'll still make less than those people because they've been there longer. They're going to have to start at the 1 and work their way up to the 3. So they'll still make less. I just want to get them in the same classification. There's also a couple other resolutions we have here that are bumping those people up even further. So I'm not asking them to get to those levels. I just want to get them into the same category of fiscal operations officer. They'll work their way up just like the other departments do. They'll still be behind them, but at least they're in the same category.
And thank you, Dave. And from what I understand, and we talked earlier in the meeting, that the salary board cannot establish the actual rates of pay for union employees. That's done through the collective bargaining process. You're not asking for that. You're asking for positions that are already built into the contract. Is that right?
Yes.
And then the contract would stipulate or would dictate the rate of pay.
Correct.
So we're not establishing a pay rate for these union positions. You're simply asking us to create these positions that are already worded in the contract. Do I have that right? Okay, thank you.
And once I fill them, the current accountant positions I will eliminate.
Yes, and that's noted in the resolution. In fact, if you'll bear with me just a second, the resolution would create, as Mr. Prestipine noted, 2 positions, each of fiscal operations officer 1, fiscal operations officer 2, and fiscal operations officer 3. Salaries will be paid per the collective bargaining agreement with the AFSCME union. And it's noted upon hiring of the 2 newly created positions, the controller is proposing that the existing accountant 1 and accountant 2 and accountant 3 positions be eliminated. And then this would take effect January 1 of 2025.
You know, just to clarify, because it sounds like I'm creating 6 positions, which technically I am. That's only so that the 2 people can move up to the 2 and the 3 when they're supposed to do so. I could still only have 2 employees, even though there's 6 positions. I can hire 6 people.
Understood. Thank
It
you.
gives them the ability, because the contract gives them the ability to move up after a certain period of time. And instead of coming back in here and having to keep creating positions every time it happens, we're just going to do it now. It's got to be done this way for this situation for other departments. Just to make it easier.
Thanks for noting that. I'm going to see if Commissioner Sanada has any questions.
I think I agree with you, Joel. I think because we did this earlier, I recall, we did this for some other offices where we created, so they have the ability to move
Yeah,
up.
the contract stipulates when they can move on.
Right.
The positions there's 6 positions, but only 2 people can move.
Correct. I think that makes sense, so we don't have to come back and keep going through this discussion. When they're actually there, we're not creating any new
Yeah,
jobs.
because this is running a problem. When the union contract says they move up, they move up. So if there's no position for us to move up to, then we'll call a salary board meeting to comply with the contract, and we can just do it now and over.
Thank you both.
That's all I have.
Mr. Kennedy.
The only thing I gotta say, you can't put any more people back here anyway, and we're not adding on.
Are all your cubicles filled?
No, there's one.
Oh. I should have asked that question.
I'm not planning on filling it, but there is one.
Can we move Joe down there?
Sure, bring him down.
poor Joe's not here to defend
That's
himself.
it, that's why
It's
we
time,
do it.
we can find out soon.
Don't get any ideas.
Well, this is proposed resolution 40. Are there any other concerns, Joe? If not, may I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. Say, do that. Roll call, please.
Controller Prestipine,
Yes,
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes,
motion carries.
thank you. David, thank you very much. Well, Tish, wonderful timing. Please
She
come
got
have
a
seat.
phone call.
Yeah, I saw that. But no, we know you're busy. Tish Foster is our tax claim director. Am I at liberty to talk about your plans?
Mhm.
Okay. It's a bittersweet for us. It's very bittersweet. Mrs. Foster plans to retire in a few weeks. And we hate to see her go. But you've done a wonderful job as tax claim director. It's so professional, it's so detail oriented, and we can't thank you enough. And we're going to miss you. But we were just saying to Judge Motto, he was here about an hour ago, and he's retiring. We wished him a lengthy and a healthy retirement. That's what we wish for you.
Thank you, Dan.
And we're going to miss you again. But you'll still pop in on it.
I will.
Okay. Well, Tish, you have a proposal, and again, this does involve a union position. And as we've talked this morning, you haven't been here, but we've talked this morning about the fact the salary board cannot establish rates of pay for union positions, but we can actually create positions or eliminate positions. And what you're asking for is that the salary board create a tax claim assistant position, which would be a union position. The salary for that position would be paid in accordance with the collective bargaining agreement that we have with AFSCME. Your proposal would also eliminate one fiscal officer position upon the hiring of the newly created tax claim assistant, and this would take effect on January 1. Is that your understanding of?
Yes.
Would you care to elaborate or add anything to that?
Well, there's really not too much to add.
By the way, we can't say names.
Okay, so the person, we didn't know that we needed to do this. We thought when that person got the increase in pay that took care of every, all the details. So this is just basically, I guess, formalizing what had already been done before.
There was a memorandum of understanding, was there not? That we entered into with the
the chief
union.
person in our office was working, memorandum of understanding, having a look at that class in the tax claim assistant position, but it expired December 31st of this year.
So this is almost a corrective.
Yeah, just to keep it in that position.
That's your understanding.
Yes, that would be great.
Anything else to add to that?
I don't think so.
Okay, I'm gonna see if Mr. Kennedy has questions.
I don't have any questions, just thank you, Tish. We've been here, Chris and I, about a year now. I think the only time I really see you, you ask for checks to be signed, which is, if your office runs smooth.
Thank you.
We thank you for the job you have done.
Thank
But it's one thing I've heard about Tish, everything's got a balance before she walks out this door. Right? And, that we see, you've done a great job.
Thank you.
Mr. Prestipine,
Well,
questions?
I want to thank you for your service here, and we wish you well in your time.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Mr. Sonata,
I'll just echo all my colleagues, Tish, like I said, you run a great operation over there. You've had no issues. Like I said, I've had to sign a few of those checks, and that's, we appreciate that, because that we don't see you a lot, and that means you're back, you're just doing your job, and you and your team, and we appreciate everything you've done. Wish you the very best in your retirement. It's been a year since I've been here, and I'm just impressed with what you guys have done. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
well, gentlemen, we have in front of us proposed resolution 41. Would someone care to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. If there are no other concerns, I can ask Vanessa to call the roll, please.
Controller Prestified,
Yes.
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. Tish, again, I wish you all the best.
Thanks, Dan.
I've enjoyed my professional friendship with you, but even our personal friendship.
I have as well, thank you. We'll talk.
So we will.
We'll be talking.
Thanks for coming down.
All right, thank
And you're
you.
very festive today. I
Oh,
like your-
yeah, I have
That's
those-
Christmas trees.
Uh-huh,
Very nice sparkle.
yes.
Oh, nice.
Okay,
Take care, Tish.
thank you. Thanks, Vanessa.
You're welcome.
Well, someone has to be last, and John, it's you. Thanks for sitting here for an hour and a half. Appreciate your patience. John Bout is the Children and Youth Services Director, and John, appreciate you joining us this morning.
Thank you.
We have a couple of proposals. Before we jump into them, I was going to note this before we adjourn, but I will note that this board is going to convene again because by law, we have to convene on January 6th, which is the first Monday of the new year. The county code requires all county salary boards to meet. And the primary function that day will be for us to ratify the non-union cost of living adjustment for each office in the courthouse. And I think we also note the union contracts as well. We as a board don't ratify them, we do make note of them, if I'm not mistaken. And we may have a few miscellaneous items to also consider that day. I will note that. The way the salary board also functions, and I was given advice by one of our former solicitors, is that when a department head asks for us to consider something, we show them that courtesy. We may or may not decide to bring it to a public meeting based on whatever conversations we have. But if an elected row officer or the president judge asks for a public meeting, we're obligated to convene a public meeting. And during the course of the year, things change. We may have new state regulations that require us to make adjustments. We may have retirements or people leaving that cause changes in various offices, which necessitate a salary board meeting. Every county does it a little bit differently. Some counties meet every month as a salary board. I don't think that's necessary for us. We've pretty much met on an as-needed basis, and as long as you gentlemen are comfortable with that, we'll continue to do so. Somehow, when Commissioner Craig was chairman, he got, remember that, or Dave was, you were here. Somehow, Steve got away with going a whole year without a salary board. I don't know how he did it, but he did it. But anyhow, I just needed to, so my point is that one of the reasons we chose to meet today was, number one, we anticipate the county's budget being adopted next Tuesday. And some of these changes will have to be factored in. By doing a lot of this today, it will shorten the length of our annual salary board meeting. Heck, we've already been here an hour and a half. Annual salary board meeting's probably gonna run maybe an hour, maybe not, maybe less. But so I think we've gone about this appropriately, and I hope you gentlemen are comfortable with that. But forgive me for adding all that. My point is that chances are during the new year, we'll probably have reason to meet again. Anyhow, Mr. Bout, you have two proposals in front of us for us to consider today. The first is the foster program care specialist. You'd like for the base rate to be set at $36,000, and that any current foster program care specialist with a salary that is less than the newly established base rate would have their salary increased to the base rate effective January 1, 2025 with no COLA. That's what we have in front of us. I'll let you discuss that with us if you could.
Sure, Commissioner. I appreciate salary board's time. The foster care or the foster program care specialist position those workers carry a caseload, they're in the field. My request is partially based off of the fact that with union colleagues that are maintaining a caseload, they have seen an increase with the contract negotiation. Partly this request is my desire to want to continue to solidify staff and to help with retention. And thirdly, in regards to retention, if we had to outsource our kinship program and fully outsource all of the work that they do on the foster care side, the private provider foster care agencies have dramatically increased their rates over the last 3 years. And so in a regard, us maintaining our own internal kinship program and foster care program do offer a cost savings to Lawrence County. And these positions are 80% funded through our Act 148 budget. And so when you look at 36,000 plus their benefits, I would note that the total cost to Lawrence County is 20% of the total. And lastly, I know we can't talk about people, but I will just talk about the program as a whole in which the foster program care specialists are a part of. I am very pleased with that unit. They have now had 3 inspections at the state level with no citations. And we've been able to work to build knowledge and education and some continuity there. And so I appreciate your consideration for this resolution. Thank you.
John, thank you. I appreciate your noting the 80-20 split, that the bulk of this is covered by the Commonwealth. And then secondly, just to be clear, the positions we're talking about in this resolution are non-union positions. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. Let me see if my colleague, Mr. Kennedy, has any questions.
The only thing here, this is another one of them with note 4, just to let you know, without that, it's like a $1,500 raise, it's $2,500 raise on the low end of one and 32 on the other. So we've jumped them up quite a bit to try to keep people at CYS. I'm gonna agree, we don't need to give them forward this year, so just my calculations.
I appreciate you doing that. Thank you, Dan. Commissioner Sanada.
Commissioner Kennedy, that's consistent with the other employees we've
Yeah.
had, so we're being very consistent with the numbers that you're seeing. Is that correct?
Yep.
Thank you. I have that notes.
Thank you, Chris. Controller Preston.
No, I'm good.
Thank you. Yeah, John, you, and we've had many conversations about this. You know, we're competing with the private sector. We're competing with some neighboring counties that are larger than us, have perhaps a more robust tax base than we do. So it makes it, it's challenging for us to compete. You see it firsthand. We see it not only with your department, but with some other departments as well. Now, my colleagues have noted, and they're absolutely right, that, yeah, our rates of pay don't quite match, certainly don't match the private sector, but we're not the private sector. We don't match a lot of other counties. However, we are able to offer very comprehensive health insurance benefit package to our employees. They do pay a portion of it, but compared to some counties, the portion that they pay is lower than some counties. Is that your understanding as well? So that helps a little bit, I guess. Anyhow, gentlemen, any other concerns on this proposal? And if not, would one of you care to make a motion for Resolution 42?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you both, Chris and Dan. If there are no other questions, we have a roll call, please.
Controller Preston,
Yes.
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Proposed Resolution 43 would create a children and youth services fiscal manager position at a base rate of $58,500. It would be a non-union position. John, I'll let you give us the rationale for this request, please.
Commissioner, I'm gonna withdraw this request at this time. I'm not gonna move forward with this request. It's possible in the future that I will reapprove.
That's certainly within your right to do, and we will withdraw the proposed resolution. John, do you have anything else for us today?
No, I don't.
Gentlemen, do you have anything else for John? Hearing that you don't. John, thank you.
Thank you.
Wish you a Merry Christmas. We'll be in touch.
Sounds good. Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Stay safe.
You too.
Do any members of the board have any new business over and above what we talked about at None. Thank you. I'll open it for public comment and note that there are nobody else is in the room other than who you see here and Vanessa Bayless. So there should not have any public comment. Before we adjourn though, closing comments. Mr. Kennedy, any closing comments?
Nothing.
Okay, Mr. Prestifine and Mr. Sonata. Okay, thank you. Gentlemen, thank you for your input today. And it is a pleasure for me to work with all three of you. May I have an adjournment motion,
I'll
please?
make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, the same sign. Motion carried. Meeting is adjourned. We thank everyone. Are you gonna run out?
I'll be your representative. I'm gonna run out.
Okay.
Since I know Tim Kelly and his family, I want to at least,
Tim's the fellow.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice fellow.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what, Dan? I don't think I'm gonna,
I'll run out and say hello and tell him from all of us.
you tell him we have an hour and 45 minute
Yeah.
meeting.
If nothing else, Ben